Welcome back to the mini lecture on Chapter 8. Now, this chapter covers structuring organizations and reviews some of the considerations when making decisions relating to corporate structure. Now, before we get started, I want to discuss some basic terminology relating to business structures. When establishing the structure in an organization, one should decide up front if they prefer a centralized or decentralized line of authority. If it is centralized, top management will be responsible for making most of the decisions. And if it is decentralized, then the decision-making function is distributed throughout the organization and includes the lower level management and frontline employees. Another term is span of control, and it refers to the number of employees one manager can or supervisor can successfully handle. Some companies allow for a span of control to be as low as 7 and as high as 15 or 20 if the work is standardized. And once you are promoted into the higher levels of the organization, you will notice that the span of control decreases. Let's assume here that you are establishing the structure of an organization from scratch. And to create a division of labor, the work is distributed among the available employees. Now, whether or not those tasks are broken down into smaller pieces that can result in employee specialization is a decision for management. If management decides to form groups of employees that specialize by activity or function, they can establish teams or departments. Resources are allocated, work is assigned, and in the best companies, the work instructions or procedures are established to make sure that tasks are completed accurately and at a high level of efficiency. And as the entire system of work processes is evaluated, adjustments may need to be made in order to keep the organization producing effectively. Now, as the organization grows, it is hoped that economies of scale will develop. And this condition exists when a company produces at such a high volume that it produces at the lowest per unit cost. Now, when a company produces at this level, it is able to negotiate for huge volume discounts from suppliers, and it is able to distribute the cost of its equipment and facilities over a higher number of units produced. And when you add innovation into the mix, companies can adopt mass production processes that lower cost even further. Now let's move on to some early management theorists. Theo believed in principles that led to the formation of rigid organizations. Unity of command basically means each employee reports to one supervisor, and as established by the hierarchy of command, the management should give the correct orders and expect others to follow them. The division of labor must be established, and individuals need to put their own interest aside for the benefit of the organization. Authority lies resident in the structure with some degree of centralization that allows for top management to make most of the decisions. Clear communication channels, order, equity, pride, loyalty, all of these exist under Fayol's principles. Weber expanded on Fayol's principles by developing a system that allows for the use of job descriptions, written rules and record keeping, consistent procedures, regulations, and policies, and staffing promotion based upon employee qualifications, not based upon tenure or length on the job. Now, in both Fayol and Weber, hierarchy and chain of command are important. Hierarchy provides a clear top-down management, and employees look to the manager or supervisor above them for guidance. The hierarchy is considered a chain of command when the hierarchy also reflects those lines of authority. Now, starting on this slide, we're going to be reviewing different hierarchical charts that show the different ways in which organizations can be organized. Now, in this slide, we are looking at a typical organizational chart with a broad span of control. Probability in this chart is that most of the decisions are being made at the top. This is a somewhat flat structure because you can see that the structure itself is wider than it is tall. And if we decide to departmentalize, we can departmentalize by product, by function, by customer group, by geographic location, or by process. And these departmentalizations are also considered types of specialization where employees learn to focus on specific objectives. Now, if you want to establish a line and staff approach, this hierarchical chart shows how the plant manager is overall the staff at the plant, but the functional areas of legal, human resources, and marketing are separate from the plant manager's responsibility. And although the human resource department, the legal department, and the marketing department can control based upon regulations, policy, and procedure, they do not supervise the plant manager or any of the plant manager's line workers. And many organizations use a matrix organization, which allows for good supervisory control and flexibility when working on specialized projects, contracts, short-term jobs, or even casework. And in this matrix organization, the vice presidents are in control of those in their chain of command, but the project managers to the left are also supervisors and supervise work on the individual projects and all the people that are assigned to that project. So if you look at, say, the person that serves in this position, here is indicated by my cursor. They serve under this vice president in manufacturing, but they are also serving under project manager 1 on a particular project, and that's why it is called a matrix organization. Now, with the use of the internet, it is now possible for separate and distinct organizations to join forces to create temporary virtual organizations that will work together until a contract, a project, or a process is complete. Now, many times a company can pull out of a virtual organization, and the virtual organization can immediately replace it with another one that is waiting to participate. Now, this slide really addresses what is happening in management today. In the times of Fayol and Weber, management was considered at the top of the organization, as it is in the triangle to the left, and all the tiers below top management served to support top management. Top management was held responsible if the needs of the customers were not met. And in this age of empowerment, many organizations have inverted their management structure, and the job of top management is now to support the rendering of services and the support personnel in order to meet the needs of the customer. So this is very prevalent in the medical field, in the legal field, and high technology fields. So this concludes a mini lecture on Chapter 8.